Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Reality radio for a really great future. We're talking real money.
Welcome to Talking Real Money, the long-form version. I'm Don McDonald, along with, I can't believe he's actually here.
How's that?
Yes, sir. It's Mr. Thomas Seacock.
How are you? Thank you.
Give him a big hand.
Thank you very
much. He just flew in, and boy, are his arms tired.
It's not an easy trip from Southern California to here in one morning, I tell you. So,
I mean, you literally just flew in.
Yeah, I literally did. And
well, I heard Alaska is now landing right over there at the Space Needle.
I have nothing but praise for Payne Field. I'll give you the update here. I landed at 10:17.
Yeah.
In the morning.
Wait. That's an hour and 40 minutes ago.
Landed at 10:17, and I was in the car, and I had checked my bags, because I was accompanied by others, and I literally had the bags, was in the car at 10:29. Now, you tell me. And then, of course, it was a 21-minute drive home. Pretty easy.
I want to fly into Payne Field now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the problem is for you, they don't carry your favored airline. Yet.
I don't care.
Well, they already said, I already asked the guy, and he said, no, never. So, sorry, they're never going to have.
No, never?
That's what he said. I asked the regional guy once, and he said, no, never going to Payne Field.
Never.
Not enough gates. That was his take.
Oh, well, that could be a problem.
Yeah.
How many gates are there?
I think there's like 3. It's pretty small.
Yeah, there aren't going to be a lot of flights.
It feels like flying out of Walla Walla like 30 years ago or something.
So you're really, while you may say you're never going back to SeaTac,
yeah,
that may have been
that's premature because
a bit hyperbolic.
Yeah, because they don't go enough places. Now you can get up and down the West Coast relatively easily, but you have to ascribe to my wife, by the way, never would have gone along with this flight, but it was the only one today from San Diego to here. She didn't know until the end. She would have to get up at 4 in the morning.
San Diego. Oh, it just was an early flight.
Yeah,
was it nonstop?
Nonstop. Yeah, right into Payne Field. Yeah, good deal.
Very special.
So
for all of you on the north side of the region.
Indeed. So thank you for having me on, and glad to be here.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's nice to have you back.
Yeah, thank you. I listened to the podcast from last week and didn't hear a single word that I uttered, so I guess the show sounded pretty good.
You were not
pretty
there.
Good.
Yeah, you were gone. 855-935-TALK is our live on Saturday phone number, and our good for you any other time number, too. You can call us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at that number. 855-935-8255. And, we actually had callers waiting when you got here.
I know.
They must have missed you.
No, I think you said something last week so egregious that they've been waiting for a week to get back on the air and say, wait a minute now, I'm going to set this straight. That's my
Before
take.
we get to other stuff, should we just start there?
No, we'll get to them here in just a couple minutes. But
I saw it on my screen. I thought,
we have
maybe.
some really good news today, I think.
We do?
We do. About you.
Share it with us.
From what I read in the paper, you all as investors are doing far better.
Oh, you all. I thought you meant me.
I don't have any great news about you. We really haven't chatted that much. So
no. Well, you were at Disneyland.
And I didn't see your picture at the Reagan Library either. So I will say that the news is good.
Not there.
I know. The news is good about people and investing, especially compared to the so-called experts.
You mean the great unwashed?
Yes,
the masses?
That's right.
The investing masses?
Because it turns out...
What Wall Street calls the stupid money?
Yeah. It turns out you could just use index funds and you did okay. Turns out.
You mean the stupid money smarter than the smart money?
Yeah, that's the line I was looking for. Thank you so much.
Oh, congratulations, all of you stupid money people. You are beating, and actually it's true, when you look at the investment results from hedge funds, you see they're at best mediocre.
Generally better than just market-like returns, because if you look at the bet that Warren Buffett made versus the top 5, the hedge funds picked their own people to put in there. They lost the bet over a 10-year period.
Yeah, so they do badly. Actively managed mutual funds generally do not outperform. Occasionally they get lucky, apparently, and they outperform. So just dumb money. The dumb money is smarter money. I am so excited for all of us.
Yeah, indeed, because we've been telling you for a long time that just using index mutual funds was probably okay.
And, to that point, Paul Merriman had a great column at Market Watch recently. Our good friend Paul Merriman.
What did he have to say at Market
He did
Watch?
one of those. No, he did one of those. I love them where you say, here is a person back in 1974 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And this woman is putting $83 a month away in the S&P 500.
Which you probably could have done in the mid-'70s. Yeah,
so
it's not
he's
outrageous.
telling this narrative about how poorly she did right out of the gate, and yet
It's a tough time.
She stuck it out. She stuck it out through 73, 74, 75. And then in the 80s, she started making good money. Not great money, but good money. And then in the 90s, she made great money. And then in the 2000s, she made no money. And she probably would have panicked out, but she stuck with it. And by the time she got to today, she had over $1 million, like $1.7 million from her $1,000 a month. 855-935-TALK is our number. Give us a call.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
It may not be the sexiest website in the world, but it's your one-stop shop for real money information. TalkingRealMoney.com.
For your real life and real future, Tom and Don are talking real money.
Okay, now that I'm not so rushed, here's Paul Merriman's little story. This is great. Young woman started in 1970.
70.
Hypothetical young woman.
Okay.
$83.33 a month.
So that's like
$1,000 a year, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
$1,000 a year. She did it every year like clockwork.
Yep. Just put the money in. That's it. Boom.
Put it in there.
Yep.
In the 70s, she put in $11,465.
Yep.
By the end, she had
Wait a minute. I thought you said she was
16,000.
putting $1,000 in a year.
I don't know. I'm looking at Paul's
Screwy
thing.
math. Because shouldn't that be $12,000? But okay. That's fine. Close enough.
It says her cumulative investments, $11,465.
Apparently, we're just ballparking here. That's all right.
Paul, why is there $500 missing?
Maybe his
her
fee.
ending portfolio value is his fee.
I guess so.
It's after fees.
I guess so.
Her ending portfolio, it must be after fees.
All right.
It's got to be after fees because the numbers are a little whacked. Okay, so we got 16,000 after the 70s. All right.
Okay, so she's at 16. Yep.
Then in the 80s, she gets up to 120.
At the end of the 80s.
At the end of the 80s.
Run. And she's throwing
It's a
in
good
the
run.
grand a year.
Oh, and the grand a year.
Yeah.
Even better. By the end of the 90s, 30
Yeah.
years later. Wait, that's 20.
Yeah.
She's up to
80,
$690,000.
At
Wait,
$80 a month. But wait.
But wait, by the end of the 2000s,
Yeah.
she's at $650,000.
Ooh, because she's just in the S&P 500.
Right.
She had a lost decade. She did not have small companies. She didn't have international, all the other stuff you should
Right.
own.
And you know what? She would have made money during the
Yeah.
lost decade if
That's
she'd
true.
done that, but
Yeah.
she didn't. But still,
She didn't freak out,
this is the dumb money.
Yep.
This is the epitome of dumb money.
sitting there.
She stuck it out
Yep.
through the 20-teens.
Yeah. The
And by
aughts.
the end of 2018,
Yeah.
how much do you think she had?
I'll say 1.1 million.
1.8 million.
1.8?
$1.8 million.
Shows you the power of compounding.
Doesn't it, though?
Yeah.
And the power of patience.
Yeah, right. You had to wait. There were bad times there. And there were times that scared you to, the 70s were horrible. And then
And
you
the
had
90s.
Then you had
the
the crash
80s.
in 87.
The aughts were terrible.
Yeah, they were horrible, especially for the S&P
2008.
500.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, that's tough. And 1.8.
Eight.
There you go.
55-935-TALK. These numbers are from Paul Merriman.
Don't
That's
call
my
us.
source.
Don't call us.
Don't call us.
We'll give you Paul.
Call Paul.
I'll give you Paul's cell phone number right now.
Yeah, give him his cell phone number. Call Paul, 855-935-TALK, 855-935-8255. By the way, are we giving away books? I got a whole big shipment of them. I've started signing.
Yeah, so we'll give everybody a signed
I've
copy
got
of your
this
book. Sure.
incredibly heavy box of books that I've got to sign. I'm looking at it going, that's a lot of books. 855-935-TALK is our number. Prasad, you're up next. Welcome to Talking Real Money.
Hi, Prasad. Welcome to the program. How can we help you?
Thank you, guys. I really enjoy your podcast. I don't live in the Seattle area, but I get a chance to call you live. Welcome back, Tom.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I enjoyed
You have fans,
the
Tom.
we both have.
You enjoyed me not being here? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Oh, okay.
My question relates to what you guys were talking about, actively managed mutual funds. Most of my portfolio is in low-cost index funds, but I'm considering a couple of Vanguard actively managed asset allocation funds, particularly Wellesley Fund and Star Fund.
Yeah, I know them both.
And I wanted to get your take on, like I said, I'm very aware of costs and I control them. What downsides are there to pursue or to buy those funds?
Downsides. I have a hard time coming up with downsides. The funds are ridiculously inexpensive for active funds. You see, you're what you found are the black swans of active funds.
Yeah, they both had good track records. The costs are relatively low. But that said, I would still expect over time that Wellesley, which is basically, I think, the S&P 500.
No, Wellesley's an income fund. It's
But it's 60-40, right? Isn't it?
No, it's actually more conservative. I was just going to find the mix on that.
Do you know what the stock to bond ratio on that is, Prasad?
I can pull it up right here.
What is it?
37.63.
Yeah,
so
it's a 40-60. It's a reverse. Yeah,
okay.
It's a reverse.
I had that wrong. So I would expect over time that if you bought, for example, 40% in the Vanguard Total World Index and 60% in the total bond, you'd outperform. But this would be easier, right? I mean,
right.
And it's
and I have no Wellesley beefs. Here's the problem. I have no Wellesley beefs and I have no Star beefs.
Yeah,
because Star is a fund of funds.
Yep.
Star is just a bunch of funds in a fund, and because Vanguard has such low fees, the biggest issue we have: active management rarely beats passive. Rarely.
Or it does for a short period of time and does not continue. But let me ask you this question. The question I would have is, why? Why do you want to do this? As you said, you're somebody who's paid attention to costs. You've used index funds, and now you're considering these two funds. How come?
Because, the simple answer, Tom, is variety. Because as I read financial stuff, there's some discussion about where indexes may turn against us, right? And I don't know if it's true or not.
Prasad, let me interject here just for a minute, because what you're reading is the popular press referring to indexes. And you see, we really need to kind of get away from indexes because we're not big fans of what most people refer to as indexes. We don't want you in the Russell 1000 or the S&P 500 or the Russell 2000.
IFA.
Right. The portfolios we suggest are like buying Wellesley and Star and the S&P 500 and a Russell 1000 and a Russell 2000 and an international fund all slammed together. If you want variety, you can't get much better variety than buying the Vanguard Total World Stock Index and then a bond index fund in the proper ratio for your risk tolerance.
And what you're really talking about here is this notion that if indexing takes over the world, what's going to happen to the money that I've got in there? Because is it going to be a problem in terms of corporate governance? Is it going to be a problem because there's not much movement of stock prices because everybody's in an index? We're not even close to that yet. I mean, depending on who you believe, it's somewhere around 35% of the money that's in mutual funds that's sort of passive or index style. So we got a long time. So, I mean, if it's just for strategy diversification, I could kind of see it. But again, I don't know.
But here's the other thing is that you don't get you actually, when you're trying to add variety, you're not adding variety. For example, with Wellesley, you're only getting 71 stocks.
And they are mainly, I'm betting, large U.S. companies.
You want the list?
Probably pretty growthy. Let me guess.
J.P. Morgan Chase,
Yeah.
Verizon, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Cisco.
You might have some Amazon in there, too. Maybe a little Apple. No, I don't know. I would be surprised, but okay.
No, it tends to be dividend payers,
all right,
looks
big
like.
dividend. So,
Yeah.
again, and now, so remember, owning the one fund they have at Vanguard with 8,800 stocks or one that holds 70. That'd be the thing I'd look at.
Exactly. That's the point. Thanks for the call. Be right back.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Just about everything you need to know about money can be found at our website, TalkingRealMoney.com.
Your guides to a really great financial future. Tom and Don are talking real money.
Here's my struggle with this. What you're really saying, when you buy
I could see you struggling,
I know,
too.
because what you're really saying when you buy an actively managed, okay, yeah, there's some not currency diversification, there's strategic diversification. I'm not just owning indexes or passive funds. I'm hiring somebody. The only reason you're going to do that is you think they're going to outperform the index, or there truly is going to be a problem with passive or index investing. I haven't seen.
I don't
that
know
happen
how
yet,
that
so.
is. Well, one, I don't even know how that's possible if you own the whole market. I mean, the whole market. You're going to own what everybody owns in all the active funds, too.
Good point.
It's everything. It's not buying the S&P 500. And that's where the argument falls apart, is when you take it past the S&P 500 or the Russell 1000.
Which we know very few of you do, because we look at so many portfolios. Remember, it's about 9 out of every $10 invested in the United States today is in the S&P 500.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So it's
I just
small
wanted to speak with our Seattle listeners who listen live every Saturday, as opposed to being forced to listen on a podcast Monday through Friday when we replay this show and I add some other ones. The podcast listeners are making you all look bad.
Oh, this is a little beat down here, huh?
Oh yeah,
A little challenge
I mean,
and throwing
the
it
last
down.
call. The
All right.
last call was from Atlanta, and the next call is from Michigan. 855-935-TALK is our number. Anyone out there from the Seattle area?
Sure, why not?
Let's go to Jeff in Michigan. Hi, Jeff. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Jeff,
And,
how can we help
I
you?
am a regular podcast listener. So
Thank you. That's very kind.
Thank you.
great. Thanks. I'm getting ready. It's time to do the annual look at my portfolio in my 403B plan to rebalance. I'm probably about 6 years away from retirement, so I'm gradually moving towards becoming more moderate/conservative in my investments. You mentioned Paul Merriman, and several years ago I came across his list of suggested Fidelity funds. My employer offers me either the Fidelity family or the Tia Cref. And because Paul Merriman had this list of 13 different funds, I started off with Fidelity.
That sounds like a Paul Merriman list.
Yeah, that does. Go ahead, Jeff.
I compared it to your 401-411 deal, and it looks like those 13 funds are fitting, most of the ideal ones you show on your plan. So, however, 2 months ago, and then again recently, you've mentioned the 2-fund strategy for Vanguard being changed to for Fidelity. It can be a 3-fund plan.
Mm-hmm.
Should I continue doing what I've been doing, do you think? Or for simplicity, should I move towards that 2 equity funds and the 1 bond fund that you've talked about?
I don't think it's fair to ask Tom, because really he and Paul Merriman are the same person. They're the same.
I got the 13 funds right here in my back pocket, man.
Exactly.
Ready to go.
No. Let me just tell you, Paul's 13 fund solution is actually slightly. It does more of what we would like to see you as an investor do. The reason we use a 2-fund or a 3-fund on the show is because to tell somebody, one, all the funds, and then to tell them regularly, you need to rebalance 13 different positions.
What we find, Jeff, is very few people will do this. So that's why we went why we, excluding Paul, went to the simpler approach just to get people to invest and to make it relatively simple. Would I expect over time? He does. I would expect over time with his 13 funds that your performance probably would be better. It'd be small. It'd be at the edges, but it would be better because you have more small, more value, all those things than you get in just owning the two funds.
May I ask a quick follow-up?
Yeah, go ahead. Hurry.
And by the way, I haven't seen his. I know he recently came out with an article about a two-fund strategy.
Can we get you to hold? Can we get you to hold a second, Jeff?
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Okay.
Please.
Yeah, well, it's more than a second because this is a news break locally. So
stand by.
For the podcast, it's not, though. When you listen to the podcast, it just goes like this. Whoa, we'll be right back. Oh, we're back. 855-935-TALK is the number, 855-935-8255. Please call. We love talking with you.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Do you need a little help with your investments? Set up a free, no-obligation appointment with one of our advisors at TalkingRealMoney.com.
Reality radio for a really great future. We're talking real money.
All right, you dumb money bunnies, welcome back to the show. I'm Don McDonald.
I'm going to let you say that. Okay.
I figured it was appropriate for Easter weekend.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm thinking about copywriting that. I'm a dumb money bunny. A dumb money bunny.
So now you're going to want to, in addition to the hats, you're going to want to sell bunnies that say "dumb" on them or something.
No, I'm going to do dumb bunny bumper stickers. Or something.
Okay. That's cheaper than the 1,000 hats we have sitting around in the closet.
We don't have 1,000.
500 or whatever it is.
We have like 40. Dumb money bunny.
You may not know this about Don, but when Don orders something, he orders something. We have magazines sitting around from the late 90s that we still have 1,000 copies of or something. I don't know.
Do we still have all those? We need to, those real investing journals, they're going to be worth something someday.
Yeah, they will be. You'll be gone. I'll be gone, but they'll be worth something.
They're going to be worth something someday. Those old real investing journals.
Oh, yeah.
You remember back when they still printed things on paper?
Look at this.
855-935-TALK is our phone number. We're talking to Jeff in Michigan, and Jeff had a follow-up question about savings or something. I don't know. Something.
Go ahead.
Good. Thank you. And hey, dumb bunny, shoe fits, I'll wear it.
All right.
About the dumb money. One more quick question. I have been really happy with Fidelity, but my employer does allow me to use the TIA CREF family of funds. Do you have any advice or strong feeling? Should I give the TIA funds a look or just keep doing what I'm doing?
I don't know enough to know, so honestly.
I do. I would just keep doing what you're doing.
It's going to surprise you. Don has an opinion on this.
Really?
Yeah. It's a holiday weekend. I understand.
I don't see any benefit in going to TIA CREF funds. I think you're in a group that's as good as it gets. I mean, Vanguard, Fidelity, Schwab. If you're with those companies, you're doing pretty well.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome so much.
Thank you. By the way, the one thing TIA does do well. Yes. I think I have this right. If you have a lousy variable annuity, you can exchange it into one of the TIAs. They have no load, inexpensive variable annuity.
They do. So, they have, and their fixed annuities are actually very competitive, and they don't have the high commission surrender charge thing going on.
Yeah, which is nice
so that is a benefit. I'm not opposed. I'm just saying you're at Fidelity. You're in one of the best places you can be.
The only question I have at Fidelity now is the zero funds, which we still don't know enough about. It's been very mysterious. What do they hold?
When ETFs came out, I withheld judgment for years.
Yeah.
For years. I kept saying, not comfortable enough, not comfortable enough, not comfortable enough. I'm not comfortable enough because these Fidelity free funds are emulators. They're not buying the index. They're emulating the index.
So there's artificial stuff in there that's designed to look like particular equities or futures on it. I mean, all this.
I don't know.
Stuff makes me nervous. Always has.
Me too. 855-93. Anything that's tricky, anything that seems a little more complex.
Because it doesn't fit our dumb bunny approach, man.
Exactly.
All
We're
right.
the dumb bunny people.
Funny dumb bummy.
Dumb,
Yeah, I got it.
The funny money bunnies.
I think you may be onto something there.
The funny money bunnies. Like Click and Clack.
I don't think you could
funny
be.
money bunnies.
I don't think you could be a financial advisor and call yourself
And
Funny
be a
Money.
funny money
I
bunny.
think that's that's poor branding. I gotta say,
I don't
right
know.
there.
I'm envisioning images of us with rabbit ears. It's the funny
Tis
money
the season,
bunnies.
yeah.
Welcome to Funny Money Bunny Radio. That's just go ahead and say that about 8 times fast.
Not going to do that. So
Because it'll come out something you don't want to say on the
indeed it
radio.
will.
855-935-TALK is our phone number. John, you're next. Welcome to Funny
and he's
Bunny
live
Radio.
and local. John, how are you? John?
Yes, I'm here. I have a two-part question for you. 4 years ago, the wife and I bought a vacation property. This last October, we sold the property to buy a better-suited property for us long-term down the beach. So we had about $180,000 capital gain on the property, and when taxes came around this year, I owe
had to write a
money
big check.
on the property. I get to write a big check. I thought investing into another property, foolish me, would take care of that.
Only if you did the
It hasn't.
exchange. Yeah, that wouldn't work.
Yeah,
Okay.
It
So-
has to be like kind. It has to be an exchange, and it has to be your primary residence where you can have the capital gain
rollover,
step up. But
Right,
sorry,
and it's not. Yeah, it's not the primary. So my question is, I have. I'll be 59 and a half June 1st. I do have about $100,000 in a Roth IRA and a portfolio. They're all in Vanguard portfolio with individual stocks in it. What would be the best move for me? Am I going to pay penalty on
Hang
the Roth?
on. We'll take this up in a minute here.
yeah, the complexity increases here slightly. So we've got to go through some options. Go ahead and turn your radio down, too. I'm hearing it coming back at us a little. 855-935-TALK is our number. We'll go back to John in a minute, and then we'll talk with you.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Would you like to talk to a real investment advisor for free? Set up an appointment at TalkingRealMoney.com.
For your real life and real future, Tom and Don are talking real money.
And you can talk about your real money issues with us at 855-935-TALK, 855-935-8255. Actually, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But if you call during the show, you actually get a copy of Talking Real Money, the book about real money and real investing. And I'll sign one because I got a box of them in the next room. 855-935-TALK. We're talking to John. John sold a vacation home and got surprised by a big capital gain on the property and the tax thereof. And I think the question you're asking, John, is should you take the money from your Roth IRA to pay the taxes? Is that right?
Well, yeah, I have a traditional IRAs with Vanguard, roughly 900 in that, 100 in a Roth, and then I have a stock fund with about just individual stocks that I rolled into a Vanguard account that will cover the taxes I owe. I'm just wondering, I know I'm going to have to pay capital gains. They're long-term capital gains on the individual stocks. Or if I sell the Roth before 59 and a half, a portion of that, can I pay my taxes with that with no penalty? That makes sense?
One, I would never, ever, ever touch the retirement money. I mean, that's just, to me, that it's got to be sacrosanct. You say you've got the money in another account and it's individual stocks on which you may get another capital gain, but that's a place I'd
would start
draw from
there.
for-
Yeah, I mean, on the Roth, yes, after you're 59 and a half, you're not going to pay the penalty, which is good, because on the IRA, you would up to and before the 59 and a half, you'd be paying the 10% on top of the tax you're going to pay to take that out as income. So you would not pay that in the Roth. I guess the only caveat I might have here is, depending on if this is too complicated because I'd have to look at the position by position on the stock holdings, that you might want to do a little bit of both. I'm with Don. I find it abhorrent that people want to take money out of their retirement and pay taxes. But if you're going to pay more tax because you got to sell those individual stocks to pay the tax on the real estate, then there may be a reason to do a little bit of both. Harvest some of the money from the taxable account and some of the money from the Roth. That might be another way to go.
Okay. Yeah, I was planning on just selling the individual stocks and then paying the capital gains on this year's taxes. I guess that answers my question. One other thing, though, what was an exchange? What could I have done different when I bought another beach house just down the way that, like I said, is better suited for us long term? But we did have a capital gain of about $165,000 on the previous property.
Yeah, there is. It depends on what the property is considered. It's a 1031 exchange.
The idea here is you're simply you're moving your equity from one piece of real estate to another, and the government says, okay, you got a gain, but you can kick the can down the road to pay us later.
But if I remember, and I'm not an attorney, I don't pretend to be one. I will never do that.
Thank you.
It should be an investment. Are you renting it out? Is it an investment property?
No, we never have rented it out.
Then that 1031s,
VRBO it, but
1031s apply to investment property.
Okay.
So then it would not qualify under that.
Yeah, just a plain old second home. Nope, you're just, as far as I know, and again, this is not my primary area of expertise, but from the many years I've talked about this, I'm pretty sure you made money.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And oftentimes people complain, well, yeah, but you did make the money. Right?
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
I like making
indeed.
money. Even if I have to pay taxes on it, I like making the money. Not, I'm not greedy, but it's nice to have it. We got to pay taxes along the way. 855-935-TALK is our phone number. 855-935-8255. And Andy, you're up next. Welcome to Talking Real Money.
Hi, Andy.
Hi. Enjoy your show. Thanks for having me on.
Our pleasure, and thank you for listening.
I've got a Vanguard account, and within that Vanguard account, I got a rollover IRA that I've from past employer 401ks. It's about $350,000, and I don't know. I know at one time it was feasible to roll over or transfer or whatever into a Roth IRA. That money maybe pay some tax now. I anticipate that my income at retirement age will be more than a higher bracket that I'm at now.
How old are you now, Andy?
46.
So you're young. I mean, you could do this over several years, and then you'd want to look very carefully at your tax bracket. You wouldn't want to take money out of the IRA and move it into the Roth and move yourself into a higher bracket, because remember, everything that comes out of that IRA comes out as income. So if your income is at a certain level and they pushes you to the next bracket, you wouldn't want to do that. And number two, you'd want to make sure you have money in another account, not from the IRA, to pay the taxes.
Okay, so if I were to, I didn't realize that it was feasible to do it incrementally.
Yeah.
But if you're saying that it might be feasible to do it incrementally,
that might make the most sense.
Well, because you're spreading out it requires a little bit of tax pre-planning.
Yeah.
You want to look at what your year is likely to look like, and you want to avoid any event that's because these are income events. These are not capital gains events. You want to avoid any income event that will kick you into a higher bracket. So you want to do a little pre-planning and say, okay, I can take this much out of my traditional IRA and move it to a Roth without kicking myself up a bracket and giving the government another 4% or whatever the amount is.
Which I will say now is actually easier with the new tax code in place, to read the tax table and to kind of understand that and do some planning. But yes, you could do this over several years. The advantage you have is your relative young age. Then all that money is going to grow tax-free. And when you get to retirement, you can have a mix of different sort of pots, for lack of a better expression, to draw from for retirement income. I love that strategy.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have a Roth IRA as well, and I contribute to that annually. My wife and I do. but I'm kind of at the limit, income-wise, where I'm almost not able to contribute anymore to the Roth. So if I were to incrementally take some of the rollover money, put it into the Roth, would that affect the contributions, the normal contributions? Would that?
If it moves your income to a higher level, then yes.
Yes.
And I think the phase out is, I think they changed it a little bit. It's like 190-something thousand household income. Once you go above that, you are no longer Roth eligible. You can't make a contribution.
Is that adjusted income?
Yes.
Yes, that's AGI, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's my understanding. Okay, I guess I have to wait for maybe a down year and then think about moving some.
That's a good strategy. In other words, down income year.
Right. When you don't play the stock market game, but a down income year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or a gap year when you quit working and now you don't have income. Then you move it that year because you don't have the income. You pay the income tax on that, so that makes sense. Andy, thank you for the question. By the way, this always gets back to the best way to provide for yourself in retirement. We always talk about saving and the funds and all that, but at the end of the day, most people, most of you listening, should be saving to create income when work is no longer providing that. That's what it should be. And this is where it always gets confusing because people think, well, I've been working on picking the right funds and the right stuff. No, you want to have the right asset allocation, correct. But what's
the ultimate goal?
The ultimate goal should be creating retirement income.
Is to give you a source of income.
Indeed.
And that's exactly what that class I'm going to tell people about after this break.
Right. You're good,
that
man.
You're teaching on May 1st.
Indeed we are.
And lunch comes with it.
Woo!
But I'm not going to give away the surprise. Yeah. We got to pay for lunch, but that's all.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Download the advisor interview form and find out if your advisor's a fiduciary at TalkingRealMoney.com.
Your guides to a really great financial future. Tom and Don are talking real money.
And on May 1st, because we sold out the class the week prior and people said, can we have another class? On May 1st, Tom is teaching the Science of Retirement Income 2. It's exactly the same class as 1, but it's a second one. So there are only 6 seats available as of this morning. So you need to get those now at TalkingRealMoney.com. This is a lunch ed, a weekday lunch ed, and your tiny little fee includes your lunch. So go get your tickets right now. Don't miss it. Get it before it sells out at TalkingRealMoney.com.
We hope you realize that the information provided on Talking Real Money is for educational and hopefully enjoyable purposes only. Providing personalized financial planning or investing advice takes time, so please consult with a really good fee-only fiduciary investment, tax, or legal advisor. We know a good one. Investing must always involve risk. In other words, you can and probably will lose money at times. Also, as much as you want it, no one can accurately and consistently predict the future. So past performance doesn't tell you a darn thing about what the future will bring. Unlike many other programs that say something similar, Talking Real Money is not trying to get you to buy or sell any financial products or securities. Instead, the program is provided as a public service by Vestry, a fee-only registered investment advisor. Thanks for listening, and please visit TalkingRealMoney.com for more information and disclosures. That should keep the lawyers happy.